I'm asking for your vote as a candidate for the Palmdale School Board. Telling you a little bit about myself, I'm the father of a 7-year-old that's in the dual immersion program. I've lived in the community for 24 years, and I've been married for 26. What's prompted me to get involved and come off the sidelines is, like Juan, I saw as a parent that we were going to be faced with 9 furlough days. I happen to be the most educated person up here in this board. I also happen to be the most experienced financial individual in the community. I'm a tax attorney. I look at books on a daily basis. I looked at the fact that we had $16.7 million that was claimed to be missing, and it occurred to me after looking at financial after financial that the current board had been gaming the system. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, the currently ill superintendent admitted to a dual set of books, something that I had asked for a forensic audit. When I found that a forensic audit wasn't going to be forthcoming, I saw that the school board was not responsive to the community as a whole. I saw that there was disenchantment with the teachers, disenchantment with the community as a whole, and they needed to have somebody, not as an extra educator, but somebody that was a solid financial professional, somebody that's experienced in business. I solve financial problems for businesses and individuals on a daily basis. So I'm looking at coming in as the next board member, solving some of the financial gamesmanship, bringing back some relationships with the teachers, with the other employees. I also look forward to bringing into the community music, arts, sports, and I have a top 100 book program, top 100 books ever written that I'd like to see the kids read by the time they finish high school. I think that by having somebody like myself in the community on this board, we're going to now have fiscal accountability, no more games.
Thank you, Mr. Moffatt.
The governance team has a comprehensive set of practical strategies and structures that will help ensure effective team practices become a permanent way of doing business in the school district. That's the official definition. Here we've had 5-0 rubber stamps and now 4-1 rubber stamps. The fact that my esteemed colleague, Mr. Farron, questions accounting, I happen to be the accounting authority. We've had corruption and fraud. We've had dual sets of books. We needed to have somebody that is an accountant, and I happen to be that accountant. We need to have somebody that understands business structure, not self-dealing. We need to have somebody that just doesn't look at what's the text that's going to happen from the superintendent and everybody answers the same way. We need to have people that actually go out, ask the right questions. We can't have a rubber stamp. I will not be a rubber stamp. I will ask the questions and I will help get things accomplished. I ask for your vote.
Hear, hear.
Well, the premise that you had indicated that scores had increased continually isn't accurate. Recall this last year they actually decreased. Your side actually did wonderful. Matter of fact, I think that the West Side School District needs to be applauded for how they've been able to use after-school programs. That fits in with my music, arts, sports, and my top 100 books program. I also think that parent participation is wonderful. Some of the parent participation that is able to be achieved at the dual immersion school my son goes to is approximately 75%, or so has been said by the local principal. The thing that we have to look at is, are we going to have the community together work and function for promoting education? Are we going to have honesty and transparency? If we work together as a family, we can achieve it. If we have the current board, it's not going to happen. I think if we have a board that is honest and forthright, they tell you, this is what we have to work with, these are the parameters. And we don't have a second set of books, and we don't have second agendas, and we're not closing schools in one case and giving them to our friends. We have a situation where we're honest. We're not trying to break a unit. We're trying to educate our kids. And my goal is to educate my kid and 19,000 other kids just like him. That's my only focus. We have people that are dedicated. Look at the number of people that are here. You're dedicated because you want to see a good result, and I appreciate that. The 3 new board members are going to give that to you, I guarantee it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Meant that as a member of the governing board.
Well, the LCFF creates a base and supplemental concentration in grants in place of most previously existing K through 12 funding streams, including revenue limits and state categorical programs. The LEA average that's expected or was expected was 7,643. Some of the documentation that exists shows that the LE or LCFF at full funding is going to be right around $12,000 per kid. I understand that because Palmdale operates in an area that has a high Hispanic concentration, and also with Spanish being the first language, and also a combination of foster care and the food program, that we are one of the higher groups to receive LCFF funding. So as far as Palmdale, using the young acronym we scored,
Thank you.
as I would do is I'd have open, honest meetings, and I wouldn't be cutting off as a board member individuals. I don't know how many of you have seen the Calvin Robinson videos. Raise your hand there, Calvin. There. You see, if you look at some of his work, you'll see that some of the treatment that constituents have received has been disgraceful, where bailiffs have been called out and asked or been used to threaten somebody to shut down. That will not happen. I know enough that we probably won't have too many fights when I'm here. We could probably get rid of all those guys. I could solve it anyway. But past that, the next thing we would have is the Hispanic dual immersion program that my son goes to, where it's kind of a flip, where the Hispanic students become the teachers when Spanish is being spoken. I love that. I like the multicultural aspect that was spoken by Miss Whitaker. We did that at Iowa State.
Thank you.
I've got the most education of anybody on this board. I've got a doctorate, 2 masters, and the people that have been supporting me. I have an endorsement from Brad Sherman, Congressman. I have an endorsement from the Democratic Party. As you may or may not know, that it's one of the first times that an incumbent who's been part of the Democratic Party has not received a single vote for the Democratic Party, and that would have been Sandy. So that was, I happen to be endorsed by all these individuals here in white. If you'd all stand for me. There we go.
Thank
you. I happen to, in preparing myself, I solve business problems and individuals' financial problems on a daily basis. We're in a huge problem here. This is what I do for a living. And I think that I can come and I can solve, unlike what Sandy said, there is a second set of books. I can solve that problem. I can bring accountability, and I can read, and I can work with every one of you. Well, how many of you remember a couple years ago the mantra, we don't have enough money, we need to shut down these schools? And then lo and behold, we create the charter schools, and yet we're dealing with this aerospace academy different than we're dealing with, say, Kamala School. We're in a situation with the charter academy where we spent a ton of money fixing it up, and we still pay facility maintenance on it, and we treat it totally different than Kamala School. It seems to me that we've got a little bit of a problem. In the Juniper transfer, from what I understand, the 400 kids that left the Juniper school cost the school district $2.4 million. So the financial argument is we couldn't afford it, and yet we're still fulfilling the bill. That's a nonsense argument. And then you look at who happens to be a director. Sandy's husband happens to be involved. So is there a conflict? Does it look like you need to be on the board?
you. Ms. Ricks?